Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hello and welcome to IM's AEW Adventures podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Help the network out by leaving us a 5-star review, give a donation directly through Red Circle, and become one of the amazing community by joining the Social Suplex Discord. A link is in the description. Read the Social Suplex newsletter. Shout out to Trish and Tim as always, and to every person who's contributed so far. Listen to the other top-notch shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Trish and Sarah, Tunnel Talk, Sam Brown's AEW Match Guide, and joshing around. My name is Matt Maher, aka Imp, and this is your quick look back at the AEW week that was. 30 minutes of the week before Redemption and of the final week of the World Cup. I'm recording this earlier on the day of the World Cup final, so I don't know if the Orange Man has had to give the trophy over to the Spaniards. That's my hope. That's my hope. I'm not saying that as an Englishman being like, oh no, Argentina must lose. I'm saying that as somebody who predicted a Spain-Argentina final with Spain winning, so I want to be the correct boy. I want to be the clairvoyant. I want to be like, look how smart I am. But then also the Orange Man having to grovel and give a trophy over to the Spanish. Anyway, won't get into any of that bullshit and all the other bullshit around it. So we spent the week in Boston, Massachusetts, in another cool, smaller music hall location for the wrestlings. The crowd were loving their Boston people. They got treated to that more on Collision. Both Ciampa having a little match and with Mercedes Moné having a little talk to the crowd. Building up very suddenly all the way to Redemption. Like it's next weekend. It feels odd because we had our TV special with Beach Break, but suddenly we've got a rebound once again straight into title matches. So we're getting them announced in rapid fire. Not all of them get in massive amazing builds, like Hikaru Shida versus Maya World is just like a match that's suddenly happening. And to be fair, the main event of Kevin Knight and Kenny Omega, is that really any different? It's also like this is happening by the way. Not really much of a build, even though there's a huge character reasoning behind Kevin Knight doing it. He's been owed a title shot and this chalks that off whilst also giving him that elevation. We'll get into it when we get into the segments. But in terms of wrestling shows, both these shows this week absolutely flew by. Enjoyed both of them. It felt like one of the faster collisions I've done in a little while. Dynamite has been an incredible run, even when they've had their little dips. And by dips, I mean from like the incredible streak when Darby won the title. Then we got some great Dynamite rather than, oh my god, Dynamite. And of course, last week we had Beach Break, which was another peak. This week is the reverberations, the aftermath of that. Doing what they can to quickly set up a Redemption pay-per-view, which very much feels like a, B-show stop on the road to All In. Almost in a, was this necessary? But I don't mind the idea of giving Kenny Omega the belt last week, and then you give him a title defense, so we get to feel him as champion for at least one pay-per-view before we get to All In. And MJF might be off to film something, but even if he isn't, I don't mind the idea of just have Kenny Omega hold the belt for one pay-per-view. So at least we get to see him as champion, walking in for a title defense. Anyway, EAW has this thing where sometimes their pay-per-views don't get amazing builds, but it's a massively talented roster, so the matches are going to kill it. And then we get a huge investment at All In, so I'm not too like, oh no, a crappy pay-per-view. It's like, well, it's AEW, it won't be a crappy pay-per-view. It won't be subpar. It's almost the training from the other place of what a B show should be like. Something tells me this ain't going to feel like any of their B shows. But anyway, let's go on over to Boston, to a lovely little music hall, and for the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line as our first match of this week, Cope and Christian versus Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia, because we've got another title match to rapidly get to. So let's just fast forward this and get this title shot to give us a pay-per-view one. So let's jump on over to Taz just having a lovely time to the opening AEW Tag Team Championship match.
That song sucks.
I thought Taz was great this show. During the Death Boys, Rider Boys? I'm going to call them Death Boys. Entrance, we got a wee video with Cope explaining we're getting this title match because of the joint attack from the Riders and the Dogs. So the old Canadians wanted this match bad enough that they were willing to put the titles on the line to get it. It was basically the same promo that they then delivered on Claudio and Pac. We want to get that match against you, so we're willing to put the titles on the line for redemption. Christian threatened to dance, but instead we got cheeky double-teaming villainry from the Death Riders. Whatever it takes to win, as they ran over Cope. Finally got our Christian hot tag, the man having to contend with the cheekiness from both Death Boys. But who knows being a cheeky twat better than Christian? After a quick flash, the man immediately went to tear off a turnbuckle pad. Then when he wasn't allowed to, he bit Yuta on the head. Like, what a guy. Sorry, what a father. Garcia and Yuta tried to finish the turnbuckle bit off themselves, so with the ref distracted, Christian just kicked the dig. A delightful little throw tossed Yuta right into a Copeland spear. Young Bucks applauding from up in the crowd after. Like, they were wearing New Day house colours. That was the colour of their Bucks tank tops. So, like, is that a little Young Bucks tease? Oh, they do like to do their teasers. Finlay, Connors and Castagnoli jumped and beat down the old champions after when guns up, a big old cheer for the Bang Bang Boys, multi-man of madness, chaos, then the biggest cheer of all for Jay White coming out separately and snatching Finlay's shillelagh. I like the note of Christian refusing to play nice with Jay White, the same man who injured him, even if the crowd did chant for them to hug it out and to kiss. Like, Christian is being consistent with this. Like, no, he injured me, he took me out, all because he's acting like this good guy now, going after the people we also hate. That doesn't mean I'm going to play nice with him. And that is consistent. He's not dropped that. But this is bubbling into the Bang Bang Gang going after the Dogs and then using that to fuel Christian and Cope defending against the Death Riders for redemption, which gives them something to do before we get to the Bucks at All In. I was always expecting them to do the three-way, mostly because has it been 25 years since SummerSlam? No, it's the 25th anniversary, but it's the 26 years since the SummerSlam DLC. So I just assumed the first time they got Edge and Christian together in AEW, they've got the Bucks, you've got the FTR, you've got the Big Show. I just assumed AEW would jump all over that, just do TLC, but there's been no sign of FTR. We could do a Bang Bang Gang and the Dogs inclusion, but it almost feels like we could just do Jay White Finlay and I might be okay with that. You could do a Bang 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 Dogs blow off in like in the middle of the card or whatever, like that would be alright. Feels like it's been a decent vehicle to get the All In to naturally swing, whilst also like elongating doing it, because you could have just had the Young Bucks come out, but we've got to stretch this out. If you have the Young Bucks come out now, then it's just stretching out the inevitable. Whilst now they've kind of teased doing it before jumping at it. I don't know if the New Day's contract will end in time for them to show up at All In, or if it's going to be afterwards in the bubble after that. Either way, we're finally getting to the Bucks versus Edge and Christian, which has been the massive thing built to. That's the dream match. With or without FTR, with or without the tables, the ladders and the chairs, that is the dream pairing. Which has kind of been my feeling for the whole like Edge and Cope, not Edge and Cope, the whole Cope and Christian tag title reign. It's been feeling like with the FTR stuff, it's like, okay, let's just get to it. Okay, we're playing it a bit more. Let's just get to it. I enjoyed FTR's title reign. I love what they were doing with all the different teams in that tag division. Then with Cope and Christian's reign, it also feels like, okay, well, let's just get, this whole time it's been for me just getting to the thing I want to see at All In. That's been what we've been slowly building to. And for all I know, we're only going to get the one-on-one teams, so we're not even going to bring the triple threat FTR match ready, which means it gets stretched out even further. Anyway, on to the other notes. Dynamite started with Mox giving a pep talk to Ospreay, who's hitting forearms into a training dummy set under the camera, so it's like Ospreay was hitting his fist right into the camera. I watched this show the day after England's World Cup semi-final loss. Mox's words about all the hard work being done, just don't hesitate and bottle it. And I'm like, pain. The pain. I'm recording this after England's 6-4 victory over France. So a very weird feeling compared to that heartache and that, man. Now I'm recording just being like, that was an interesting odd night. I guess we got a medal because a medal's now a thing because the Americans couldn't understand why would you even play for a match when there isn't a thing to win, and Infantino's given things to win. So I don't know how much of the stuff added in this World Cup's going to stay after this. There's a lot of American bullshit. There's a lot of stuff just openly rejected. We've got the bloody half-an-hour halftime show next. Another thing openly rejected. Shida's post-match attack on Hardy Cameron got replayed and described as taking the Aussie out indefinitely. Aminata's run out immediately got her own TBS title match on Collision. There's a reason we're barreling through these defences for Shida, whatever her all-in match ends up being. Renee with the conglomeration, Cassidy just like, this is the perfect time for someone to just like walk in and challenge us right. The Demand walked in, a distraction for the Lethal Swerve to jump from behind so Ricochet could technically still honour his word of not touching Cassidy. Jack Perry with his knife got a promo about how this now being chapter 2 of his career. On Collision he wants to give an opportunity to someone who's at the same point of being a promising young'un like he was. So this is a shift into Jack Perry, the wrestling veteran. I guess it's more Jack Perry. He's no longer the rookie. He's no longer that upcoming guy. He's now somebody who's going to win titles, go after things. Like a slight shift in his character. And we got to see that in action when we actually got to the match on Collision. Renee brought out for A couple words with the Brawling Birds. Windsor and Hayter all sad about the England game. In proper, alright, geezer down pub. Like, way kind of mode. So cartoonishly pub British. So over the top. I bet the American audience love this. As an Englishman, I'm just like, this is so cartoonishly over the top. Are pubs like that? No. There'll be piss takeaway. Somebody dropped something. Way. But what they were doing is cartoonishly, comically so. Comic book English people. Not real. Leaning very hard on Brits who go down pub. But these Brits with the tits won't let you down. Jericho in front of a bright light. Another match at Redemption. You bring the pain, and I'll bring the painmaker. Then Ciampa in a dark hallway on a box. Accepted the challenge. Loud chants for Ciampa in his hometown. He made an open challenge for Collision, which Myron Reed accepted. And Boston treated Ciampa like a hometown hero. Again, it's the exact same pattern. When Jericho does a thing, it just feels a bit corny, just feels a bit, this isn't cool, I'm not massively invested in this. Ciampa plays his part in it, and I'm in. I'm invested. I think Ciampa's doing great work here. It's just whenever he does it with Jericho, he just takes it away from me, which is a sign. It's a great sign. Like, Ciampa's doing good work. Whatever comes after this, just make sure Ciampa's got something good after this. Andrade El Idolo versus Jake Doyle. Andrade got a wee interview bit backstage with Renee earlier in the night, establishing that he's got MJF's diamond ring now, courtesy of Will Ospreay. How you know? Andrade now coming out with two lovely ladies in, I guess, a goodie switch from he's going to fuck later to he has already fucked. Like, that was not a babyface trope I was aware of. But apparently that's what the good guys do. Ringside selfie for what I thought would be our ad break lead anyway. Huge cheer for him taking his t-shirt off to toss it into the crowd, and he's wearing that fuck Don Callis tank top just censored. Instead, Meat Man Jake Doyle hit a nasty chokeslam onto the ring apron to pose all beefy during the break. The biggest of cheers once Andrade had fought back and whipped off that tank top. The whole arena clapping and chanting C, for the most over I've seen his corner charge be. And I immediately thought Bart being like, in WWE, that's basically all the chance his character got, was just the C, because you were Mexican doing wrestling luchador stuff, and that's basically the extent of the reaction he was getting. It's like, oh man, seeing that stuff just repeated with the other really talented Mexican wrestlers, and they get the C treatment, which is, we like you, but there is no character here, so we're just going to cheer you with the C chant because you're Mexican. And it's like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks. Look here at AEW, there's so much going on with this Andrade character. Doyle jumping dick to the face, stop that though. Like, not the last time we'll see him do that this week. Andrade just feeling like such a big deal, such a star, as he moonsaulted out into a loud AEW chant. Beefy Doyle still standing and swatting away El Idolo's athletic tendencies. In the end, dancing stiff, big boot, back elbow into the DM for the win. Congratulations, Andrade. You now get to enter the Mark Davies meat grinder at the Redemption pay-per-view. This really feels like it's working. Andrade is getting so properly established as a character outside of the family for this. Sometimes I grow tired of the working through every member of the faction before you get to it, but there's so much going on in AEW that because you can see what the end road is, and because that's possibly Andrade versus Will Ospreay, I'm absolutely fine with essentially spinning Andrade wheels, getting him, establishing what his character is as a single star as well, which I think is really needed to make sure we're as invested as possible for that Ospreay-Andrade match. And with the fans getting so behind him, I am so looking forward to what happens here. Because there's always a chance that they try and make Will Ospreay just that bit darker, like he really does side with the Death Riders to win that match. You get with William Loudy, still with that huge babyface thing, but in terms of the match he then has with Andrade, I'm just, I feel like it's all being set up really well. Absolutely fine for Andrade to just keep getting his character work against the Don Callis family. And the title gets him a match on the All-In card. So anyway, I've jabbered on a little bit about Ospreay, so I guess we might as well swing properly to it. The new AEW champion, Kenny Omega. The red carpet rolled out in the ring with an Omega symbol collage. The Bucks came out with something in wraps. It's just the standard AEW championship. Get that Triple B out of here, with the crowd reaction being like, it looks like we should cheer, so we're going to. And my reaction being like, it's the same belt with a different strap colour. Because the MJF belt, and the whole point is that he's almost dishonouring the title with bringing out his own version. So get that out here, bring out this company championship, and it looks exactly the same with a different strap. Like, is it? I don't get it. Is it really that big a difference? Matt and Nick just played hype man for the new champion. The crowd all primed for that reactionary "you deserve it." A moment that got made by an accidental pyro going off and Kenny Omega being like, yeah, sure. Sure, that could go on for me. Looking all smart in his suit, directed us to Wembley Stadium, and one dum-dum in the crowd chanted USA. Will Ospreay, time for your first stare down. I see you totally timed this segment so you won't be missing any England-Argentina. And then you kicked out at one, you cheeky slag. Just, you can't have Will Ospreay in WWE just censored and scripted. I want this version of Will Ospreay where he just says things. I want stuff like this. A ton of respect, a ton of excitement, but Ospreay isn't happy being second. Before they could shake on it, Kevin Knight, villain dressed all in black, came on out to spoil the party and insert himself for the pay-per-view. F you, Kevin, from the crowd, as he tried to speak and talk about how he's owed a title shot. What's a god to a non-believer is one hell of a line to throw at Kenny, and maybe something too deep to think about for our silly little wrestling show. Why on earth would Omega give a title shot off of an MJF promise? But he does see something special in Kevin Knight. Really propped up the young TNT champion as a big deal, because we've got to sell a pay-per-view here. But all those first impressions and promises died the second the man aligned himself with the Don Callis family when he doesn't need to. And the past matters, as Kenny brought up how he, in the past, did indeed believe Callis' bullshit. He's not speaking as some, heroic AEW babyface. He's speaking as somebody who had Don Callis as his manager. Knight called Friedman Fraudman, which was such a great setup I didn't see coming. I thought it was just he's a little play on words, that the style that Max would do as well. But it was a purposeful character setup, with Kenny twisting it into, the only fraud here is you. By being part of the Don Callis family, the only person you're lying to is yourself. A really strong, quick way to swing us into, okay, I'll prove myself without the family. Basically the same story that Cal Fletcher did in the first defense for Hangman. It's the same story, just with Kevin Knight having more recently turned. So that's all fresh in the mind. It's all in the zeitgeist still. The whole thing of, he doesn't really need them. He's still a good guy. We can still save him. We can change him. Speedball going around and being like, if you do come back, I will forgive you. He's in that phase. Is it denial? So I was saying beforehand, as much as I liked the Kevin Knight character, he was missing something if you were going to elevate him higher. This heel run gave him that something extra. And I don't mind the idea of all the good guys basically being in denial and Kevin Knight is the one who's actually correct, or just dwells even deeper if we're going into that old Chinese movie stories where it's the two brothers and one of them will end up becoming the evil emperor, then at the end they have a big emotional martial arts fight. It feels like where we're building to with Speedball Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight becomes the evil emperor while Speedball stays honourable and they have a martial arts fight at the end. It feels like where we're going with it. Which means you need Kevin Knight to fall deeper for him to truly believe he is unsavable. And he keeps saying stuff like that, which normally would say no villain says, I'm a villain, which was like a huge critique of WWE's writing in the 2010s. Bad characters saying, I'm a bad person, so I'm going to do bad things. No, they justify it in their own minds as the right thing to do. So if Kevin Knight is constantly telling us that, no, I'm too past it, I don't deserve this stuff, I deserve to go this route, that means that he's kind of in his own mind punishing himself, which means he needs to fall deeper, he needs to get darker, he needs to wear even blacker t-shirts, just go really pure Don Callis evil before the martial arts fight with Mike Bailey. Can you introduce, maybe there's another character I'm not aware of that's going to be the one to save Kevin Knight. Feels like it should be Mike Bailey, and by tradition, he needs to do it by kicking his ass in the martial arts fight. So we'll get there. Kenny agreed to the challenge as long as Kevin Knight does it by himself with no Don Callis folk. We got a top tier Will Ospreay reaction gif as he laughed and pointed up the ramp when Kevin Knight was walking up it. Darby Allin jumped, and the Don Callis meat men out to beat up. John Moxley, the final man, for the manly stare down. Kenny kept his distance from Mox. Later in the show, Kenny in front of a truck with Renee, the match official, and in what Darby Allin telling the champion that Knight is only going to be changed by giving him a humble beating. I've just realised. I've just got it. But Darby's not the guy. Darby would try and set him on fire. That's not what we're talking about here. That should send Kevin Knight further into the darkness. The wee boy's going for the TNT title next Wednesday. Mox then came in. He's right. Some people just can't be anything else, even if they try. In a direct dig at Omega, outwardly projecting that he's trying things different this title reign, but also somewhat reflection on Mox himself, where people who don't trust the Death Riders also say that same thing as Mox. Bro, Adido versus Camrado and Aaron Solo. Loud, justified, fuck ice chants as Bandido circled right at the start. A good time was had with big beefy Nick tagging in, thinking he could outstrengthen Bandido. Nope, the Bandit's big strong boy himself lifted the large hairy man up over his head. Brody King in to now just run roughshod over poor Solo. Bandido frog splash onto both men for the quick win. Cal Fletcher then in Gorilla, ready for his match. His dickhead promo interrupted by Brody and Bandido jumping across all excited. Bandido taking a wanted sign from the crowd and he kind of just stuck it onto Cal Fletcher's oiled up sweaty chest. Just like, what are you doing? I love that there's two sides of Bandido. Like, he's this absolutely incredible wrestler showing off his strength, his fortitude, his willingness to fight back all of that heart, but once he's backstage he's the most giddy, excitable thing. It's the duality of Bandido. And my god, the match that Cal Fletcher then had. The AEW International Championship defending against Commander. I raved about having a grand old time watching Commander during Collision's multi-man tag last week, so I was absolutely happy going into this, getting to see the man dance those ropes in singles this week. And for Fletcher, it's like a low stakes first defense, like perfect for AEW telly given how spectacular Commander is atop these ropes. And case in point on that, before our ad break, Commander ran across the top rope, hopped to the next, and fucking beautiful float over. He's so good at this. Boston was so loud as the match went on. To be fair, they were amazing all night, really elevated the show for me, and they were great for Collision too. And what a lovely step up pop up on the ropes to Rana Kyle off Brett's rope. Rope walk suckered Kyle in to swipe the man's legs, but he just springboarded backwards onto his feet, and holy shit, what an incredible Super Destroyer. Springboarding flight off the ropes into an absolutely perfect catch and flip with Fletcher. Nailed that timing, lads. Absolute hot fire feeding off the the crowd for the end. Kyle with that final flow snapped something special. Commander kept kicking out, but that corner kick brainbuster combo won out again. After the match went to rip the mask off Commander, when Takeshita ran in, for some reason I just didn't put together that he's not in Japan yet. I was like, oh shit, Takeshita. The title in hand, chatting at Kyle, jumped by an Okada, Rainmaker and Nom Nom Nom. Our first look of all three in the ring proper on our setting up to All In. Okada and Fletcher both holding the championship in a little potential tension, but we didn't get to see it because Bandito ran down to jump them. Not going to spoil ourselves of our all-in magic party. And in the promo later, Kyle got his redemption match with a heated promo on Bandito, with Okada just pouting in the background. Brian Cage versus Darby Allin. A chance for the muscle man to toss about wee Darby after the man ran out to beat up Trent Barreto on Collision. A first half of pain for Darbs, a second half of jumping and leaping about, also in pain. A coffin drop on top of the steps up on their side says it all. A second coffin drop in the ring sealed it. Weirdly, this is my gloss over match, where I thought both guys were great. You got Darby Allin throwing himself about. Obviously the crowd are electric during it, and Brian Cage feel like he's really stepped up since his return. Been really enjoying his work. It does help that he's amongst the other beefy boys of the Don Callis family, so it feels like he's starting to fit right in there. But yeah, ultimately in terms of the rhythm of the show, this is the gloss over match. So it's kind of like we'll go on to the actual main event. It was a week with both shows being main evented by women's matches. Here on Dynamite, Willow, Maya World and Hyan versus Mercedes Moné and Divine Dominion. Main event women's tag times, giving us a wee tease of our potential all-in women's title match. Proper teams with everyone in matching gear. Mercedes very much hiding behind the tall women for most of the match. Like, hey, not being a cowardly villain, it was more, why risk it when you've got your guaranteed Wembley match already? Just don't get injured. Everybody down, tags in, leaving just Maya and Mercedes to dance. Time for a wee roll-around fun like we got to see at Forbidden Door, just wrestling that same entertaining dance again. Hyan ate all the shit and got slammed by Divine Dominion. Willow made the save and got herself into trouble, giving us a great little chance to show how fired up she is with her return. A blind Mercedes tag, but that gave Hyan room to spear and give her wee amped up showing before the inevitable outcome. Moneymaker on Hyan, 1, 2, 3, and Mercedes snatched the win. Hyan, but like American names would go with Hyan. Went deep into the pool for the accent of Dexter season 3. Like Anton. God, I do as much as I love Jimmy Smith, can't be doing season 3 of Dexter. Great season 4. Great season 2, incredible. Season 3 is the Anton season. Like, no. Mercedes won this match. Owen Hart belt up high, all posing all confident. The tall women also raised their tag titles with Excalibur in his rapid fire match rundowns as Mercedes started waggling the belt like she's got a big dick, and then apparently on social media, because I'm not on Twitter, but I see it shared that she put out something like big dick energy and just swinging the title. I was like, God damn it. Getting the tall women to do it too. Something that will be immediately over. No question. I mean, this was a show which was rapidly setting up redemption. Like, oh shit, we've got a pay-per-view next week. All in the main thing in mind, but they're doing their best to set up that we're going to have some really entertaining matches at this show. AEW are still on an absolutely amazing streak. I'm more interested to see whether they can maintain that level of great pay-per-views when this is very much that B-level one before the big one. Like, All In has been set up to absolutely succeed. So much effort being put into that show. Redemption almost like by the way. It still feels like it's going to be a great show, but can they meet their own bar when the setup for it is so incredibly short? In the past, they have, but we'll see. Anyway, I enjoyed Collision actually more this week. As much as I adored Kyle Fletcher versus Commander, I just had a better time overall through this show. Felt like it absolutely flew by. So let's just jump to it. It's not the craziest week. Next week, it's the calm before the storm because I've got the pay-per-view next week. So let's return to Boston, Massachusetts. A live show, so the chanting wasn't cut out. I always get a little bit... It takes me out of it whenever the audio is cut or edited in. When you just hear the audio so blatantly changed, it's like, oh man. It takes me out a little bit when they have to do that. Anyway, no big knives this week on Collision. Instead, big show. Paul White with his deep, growly tones over the commentary desk, rewinding the clock back to AEW Dark. So let's get to it. Starting with Jungle Jack Perry's match against that young person he wants to give the spotlight to. It's a returning Nick Wayne. He's coming back from his second year doing the Best of Super Juniors tournament in Japan. So let's see what Nick Wayne and his brand new tan have to get on here against Jack Perry. So let's play the sound clip and then let's get into it.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Kick right in the soup coolers. And a running knee! 1, 2, 3. Jeff Perry wins the match.
A nice little opportunity for the commentary desk to gloat about how AEW actually gives young talent a spotlight. Right into Jack Perry chopping a young boy like he's the veteran of the place now. We're back from break after those ringside chops to be like, fine, you can have a jump or two, Nick. First though, powerbomb onto the apron. That didn't seem to be the thing that hurt Wayne the most though. That was the man's own destroyer. Great dive under the second rope, floating over, swish into a ringside destroyer, and my arse. It's kind of, sometimes they're able to incorporate a little bit of pain into an actual sell. That looked more like, I can't sell anything else, my arse really hurts. It did not look fun. Back in the ring for a big old fisherman's friend, but that springboard cutter is probably one of wrestling's most countered moves. Suplex back and Jungle Jack followed up with a running knee for the win. Perry with his first win in this rejig of being a more experienced lad now. Personally, it was like a little tweak to the character that I felt like did work. It's one showing though, so we'll see how it actually flies and how a crowd then reacts to him being in a title match or something more down the line. I wouldn't mind something to like either explore his character or develop it further. Like we're seeing characters get developed all over the place over this show. As Jungle Jack Perry's been like, no, I am determined that I'm going to climb this card, and we don't get anything more than that. Then the crowd may turn on him actually getting that elevation. Right, onto the other notes. It is Collision, so this week there's a lot of other notes. Just bits and bobs from around the show that don't really fit into a match structure or whatever. Young Bucks got a talky video, jabbered about how they don't trust the Death Riders, and if Ospreay is one of them, then they need to show Kenny that he can't be trusted. Challenge Mox and Ospreay to a match at Redemption next week. Like I said, rapid fire announcement of matches to fill out this Redemption card, but also rapid fire filling it out with really strong matches. Later in the show, Ospreay got to talk about his opponent, Ozzy Adam Brooks. He used to sleep at my house. My mum loves him. Mox directed the Bucks. He's had a disdain for all things elite, making the match of Redemption personal. K-John Cope also got a video talkie, also challenged a couple Death Riders, offered Claudio and Pac a pay-per-view title shot. Then later in the show, I was a little confused. We've got another video of them talking on Claudio and Pac, this time backstage to camera. It was just a setup for Matt and Nick to walk in. Christian had none of their 3-time champions boast, well, maybe you've lost them because they're just things to you. To us, they're championships, and just stomped away with Cope having to repair another relationship backstage. I do quite like that dynamic. Christian hasn't changed at all. He just happens to be aligned with Cope. Other people are now putting up with him, and then Cope has to go around and be like, please forgive him. Please still be friends with us. A special service announcement from Finlay and Connors. They promote gang violence. Connors jumping in and banging. A campaign to say guns down. Treated all seriously in front of the black and white with the kind of fading pan as each person comes in. And later we got, in terms of like what could possibly be the opposite to that, just a video camera in an apartment, a brick wall apartment. Just very casually filmed, like no professionalism to it at all. The Bang Bang Gang got their own response. I did chuckle at someone saying he's a misogynist, then Austin Gunn being like, yeah, I love massages. It's so silly. It's such a silly line. Jay White challenged Clark Connors to a match on Dynamite. Darby Allin with his hood up, Vandal spraying painted an abandoned car and setting it alight with a flamethrower. All on a promo on Kevin Knight. He's going to do the same to Kevin Knight's title reign. Full Suit Andrade backstage all sweaty with Renee. Jumped from the peripheral vision by his pay-per-view opponent Mark Davies. Hilarious accidental fade to black like he was dead, with the transition to break timed just a little off. So it meant the video reached its end point and it stopped on a still of Andrade and then just faded to black. It was like, oh god, is he dead? I just love that. And Triangle of Madness are champions in Stardom. A promo from backstage in Japan sent over. The Spooky Sisters challenge the tall women to a hardcore title match next week. And on to the rest of the Collision show with the TNT Championship, Kevin Knight versus AR Fox. Our confirmed number one contender for Redemption has got his own championship to defend first. Paddy Knight jumped before the bell and dumped the Bandana Man out the ring. We want Speedball in the crowd later response to try and get under the man's skin. Fox still as innovative as always, like used the second rope to slingshot Knight roly-poly back, used Kevin Knight's shoulders to head scissor wiggle round. Like always brings out something new. Went into the ad break with an athletic Kevin leaping forearm popping off the announce table though, like you still suck from the crowd after the cool move. No springboard fight for Kevin after the break. Instead, a cutter dangled the bastard, and we got our second float over destroyer in as many matches. Come on, AEW. No Spanish fly for Fox. Instead, that big Uranagi slam thing from Kevin up high. UFO splash followed up for the win. Liked his cheeky baddie grin as if him climbing up was the most cheeky, most dastardly thing he could do. The crowd are gonna hate this. Written all over his face. Next up for Kevin is a defense against Darby Allin on Wednesday. The champion sat down on commentary, all sweaty and catching his breath to enjoy the Don Callis family trios tag. Before the match started, saying to Lance Archer, "Yeah, I'm sweaty." It just made me laugh. And that match was Brian Cage, Jake Doyle and Hechicero versus 3 job boys, didn't write down the names. And the second Doyle jump dick to the face of the week, right out the gate. Hechicero had this moment of fun, then Cage tagged in to kick and throw about as the big power boy. His move where he was lifting into a spinning cutter was, tad messy. Hechicero's slingshot over the top didn't quite work out either. Camera cut away from Hechicero so he could just tangle the bastard more manually. Another Cage lift down onto a stiff knee for the win. But the toss into a stiff forearm after the match looked great and got a wee chuckle out of me. So it saved it there. After that, Speedball and all their friends ran down to give us a multi-fellow stare down. Weapons in hand, conglomeration, rascal, whatever, all of his friends there. Into Will Ospreay versus Adam Brooks. A good laugh as Dad John slipped out on commentary. Shivani gave Mox his commentary introduction, but John couldn't hear himself, and away slipped cool badass Mox for a second as Tony was like, "Oh, what if you press this button?" We accidentally got Dad John instead of Papa Mox just for a second. Ospreay never fails to get the crowd so invested and loud as hell. To be fair, AEW crowds have been conditioned to be way more accepting of a new talent they've never seen before. It's that reaction I grew up with watching WWE, with the "who are you" type of reaction. It would either be a tepid thing or it would be genuine chants of "who are you." But in AEW, they've been conditioned to be way more accepting of somebody new, more excited to be like, "Oh, this is a new face," even if they're like a jobber type of situation. Or here, where they are specifically brought in to be a character piece for somebody else's story. Brooks had his moments and charges, dodged a flurry of Ospreay's kicks, but Spanish Fly set up the hidden blade, countered by Brooks just spitting at him. I love that, just in terms of the disrespect, because it had to be something to amp Ospreay into showing that no remorse, no matter who it is. Early in the show, they set it all up. This is a former, family friend for Ospreay. Stiff shot and forearm after forearm, Death Rider style, laid it in, and Ospreay got the win. Just that wee little showing of Ospreay not holding back no matter who it is. An old friend here, a most respected one at All In. The priming is ready. We're showing him doing it to family friends. Because even if he doesn't do it, they're showing us that he should be capable of doing it. Athena versus jobber Ava Everett. Ava got to smile all giddy when she got announced, but Athena gave the woman a good old kick and toss into the barricade to fix that. A little self-belief back in the ring, got another kick in reply. Big power bombs, stiff strike, and tangled up into the submission. Snappy Athena win. No attempt to flashy O-face, just a match of pure getting to business. Celebrated on the ramp and outstrutted the Brawling Birds for their jobber match. Don't know how Athena ties into the Brawling Birds, but maybe we'll find out. And this happens sometimes on Collision, and it's normally really fun. Just a immediate transition into the next match. Brawling Birds versus jobbers Tiara and Kayla. Both birds in tandem tossed a woman into the barricade before whipping the jobbers into each other. A good little chucker at Windsor, countering a woman rolling away by just diving at her with a headbutt. 2 birds, 1 stone, running lifted elbow thing for the win. Another one for the tally as we build up to Wembley. Tommaso Ciampa versus Myron Reed. A big old response for the hometown Ciampa. Reed with the dropkick flashes, but Tommaso quickly brought the match into the tough house. The Rascal had plenty of ways to escape though, like popping out the ropes and resulting in our ad break lead instead being an improvised Ciampa rope draped DDT onto the ramp. Back from break for one of Reed's flashy dives. A good laugh as one of the ringside fans cheered with the puppet Monet on their hand, somewhat took away from the "yeah, I did something cool" vibe Myron's cheer was going for. The music hall was also fully behind Ciampa, so his yeah was never gonna get the desired response. "This is for you, Painmaker," to camera before going for the Project Ciampa powerbomb into the double knees. The "chat shit get banged" clause enacted though. Reed escaped again, and next thing he was hitting that crazy dive out the ring into a cutter on the ramp. Back in the ring, countered back, and finally Ciampa got his Project Ciampa. Stiff running knee for the 3. After the match, grabbed the mic to talk shit at Shivani again when Tall Paul stood up tall, so Tommaso stood on the announce chair that Paul had just vacated to meet him eye to eye. A message for Tall Paul to deliver to Jericho. Not only is Tommaso Ciampa better than Jericho, but the Psycho Killer is not afraid of the Painmaker. Lay down the challenge for the pay-per-view match to be no holds barred. And quite often in wrestling, someone will say, "Got a message for you," and then just be like a rambly promo, whilst this was very direct, an actual message for Paul to pass on. It's no, kudos to you, Ciampa. You weren't just saying a thing, you were. No, this actually is a message. Would you kindly? Thank you. Speaking of Boston folk, Mercedes Moné. Production knew to immediately find that puppet. Another Bostonette for Massachusetts to adore. Oh, I should have used that for Ciampa. Mercedes all confident in Moné's question on who she thinks will win between Tekla and Willow. Because why should she care? When she's going to beat whoever wins at All In anyway. One hides behind a fake poison, one hides behind a fake little smile, but neither can hide when that bell rings. CEO chants with the woman treated like the biggest deal in the world by the crowd. No jump attack or anything, just a moment for her to get a piece. Literally just a minute for Mercedes to chat all confident and for Boston to get another hometown bit of cheer. Because AEW is the goody company. They're the babyface company. They give you what you want. You want to cheer your hometown person? Yeah, well, we'll give them a minute to talk. They won't get jumped so you're leaving room because you think of the heat. No, they'll just get their time to talk and everyone will be happy. And speaking of happy, one of the best transition. Ring of Honor World Championship Bandido versus Adam Priest. Ring of Honor title match with only the champion getting an entrance. Not a great sign for the challenger. Before the bell, just setting the expectation for a match, padding the defense numbers for Bandido. But Bandido has such an incredible ability to get you behind him and cheering for his comeback. The man can get you invested in any pairing. I bet he could nail a defense against a proverbial broom, like Satnam Singh or the Yeti or something. One-arm big boy Bandido power, AE-dub after the Alabama. No 2120, Priest made Bandido fight for his signatures. Showed off winning with a deadlift version though. Just way too fancy. After a backflip into it, deadlift German backwards, 1, 2, 3 gets the win. My only question being, did the championship need to be on the line for this, rather than padding out both championship defenses for Bandido and title matches on this Collision show? The main event, the TBS Championship Hikaru Shida versus Queen Aminata. Main event, Aminata. Good to see these title matches getting some time too, like not some 5-minute mid-show flash or anything. My critique still stands, like could have had Harley and Aminata do something in the survival of the fittest before getting eliminated if they were to be your first two defenses after, which made me rethink that they weren't set to be the first two defenses after. With Shida's winning, it felt very logical that these would be the two because they're the two the fans are most behind. It's odd. I don't know if I would be able to wrap my head around how they booked that match for survival of the fittest. But at least we are getting said featured defenses. Don't know how I feel about Let's Go Queen like it's her first name. Like it's a title Boston. Like chanting Let's Go Sergeant at Mr. Slaughter. That'd be really strange. Let's Go Mr. at Mr. Kennedy. Aminata just hits with such a great oomph. Dropkick off the apron to a chair sat Hikaru looked like it hurt. Right before the break we got a wee leg tweak. Aminata dropped headfirst onto the ramp to have commentary talking all serious through the break about the woman having just been out with a head injury. Ikuze, Boston! Right before the return delightfully led us to returning from break with Shida locked in a Boston Crab. Aminata kicks be stiff, meat like she's a competitor of the beef division. Bill and Shida had to just go full cheeky times, running out the ring so Aminata had to limp over in chase. Went for the kendo stick. When the ref snatched that, she raked the eye so she could toss the woman into the barricade, like fully knowing she was losing this match and having to resort to the baddie cheating. Quick back and forth roll-ups, with Boston properly buying into the last one with the late Shida kick out. Headbutt, too limpy to go for the off with your head. Instead a tame run for a knee that got rightly caught and twisted into a cheeky roll-up with the feet on the ropes. After all of that, the knee did come back into play, but it was Aminata's own reason why she lost. Kendo stick attack after, with us all nicely conditioned for a run-out save after last week. This week it was Maher World. They're reinforcing that. Maher stopped the attack and made the immediate challenge for next time. Really padding out the Shida defenses in record time, like no waiting to build, just immediately flashing up their graphic for the TBS Championship match at Redemption. Just in the back of my mind, I've been like, they're giving her a lot of defenses. Is she going to do an open challenge and like Kyrie accepts it or something? Like what are we getting at that show? It's All In. People make their debuts. You get their big matches there. If Hikaru Shida's making a defense, who's it going to be against? Because Statlander feels incredibly tame. I got that feeling watching the Survival of the Fittest. But given that the year that Stat had until like she lost the title, but the character's properly fallen off. I did feel it in that Survival of the Fittest match. Like if we were to return to Shida versus Statlander, it would just feel a bit tame. Like that's for an All-In show, that's pre-show at best. It feels tame. There's just no momentum behind it. Obviously, we'd put in the effort, hopefully, to give it momentum. But I could do it. My bold prediction: Shida open challenge, either accepted on the show or just beforehand. But there's enough going on with the show that something like this lower down the card, he could do an open challenge and just somebody surprising shows up. I mean, that's the point of an open challenge. I mean, sometimes somebody not surprising shows up and everyone goes, oh, okay. So I can do it the other way. But anyway, I really enjoyed this collision. This wasn't a collision with the biggest matches. This wasn't the collision with the like craziest multi-mans or the biggest stars. But in terms of a show, absolutely flew by. I really enjoyed the pacing of it. The job of matches came at the right time. Really easy to watch and fly through. Obviously, I'm talking about it within the context of this is obviously a building week, a lesser week. Like this wasn't the week where everything was absolutely flying. But because Dynamite was so full of the backlash of the Beach show and having to immediately set up the Redemption show, it felt like there was a lot going on. Collision was like a downtime, like just a nice weekend show. Just a nice quiet time. Still setting stuff up, but Collision just felt just a bit more calmer, and I enjoyed that. I like that this week. Anyway, this is the calm before the storm, so yeah, it's a short episode, whatever. My recording's still gone relatively long. That keeps happening. I used to be able to get relatively decently timing with these recordings, but whatever's happened recently, maybe I've just hit a point where I've got a lot to say because we're building towards All In. But yeah, I'm overrunning every time. Every single week it's like, drag, goddammit, past me when I get into editing. Luckily, with the World Cup over, I can relax. The edit doesn't have to be rushed within a certain time frame. I can actually do it at a normal pace as I normally would. So anyway, I will be here this time next week to talk about Redemption. So thank you for listening, engaging in any form, any manner. Always appreciated, never taken for granted. Same goes for everybody here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Whoever you listen to, whoever's Discord you're in, do join the Social Suplex Discord. And do follow us on YouTube, follow Rich on YouTube. The 5-star review thing that I said at the start of the podcast. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything because I plugged all the other stuff at the start. Oh, Sam's AEW Match Guide. Should have plugged that at the start. He got direct quotes from Swerve Strickland talking about the match with AR Fox that he did in Lucha Underground. Absolutely incredible match. Highly worth both checking out the match because it's just free on YouTube and then listening to the podcast because then you get some direct thoughts on one of the people in the match. He did that show with Rich Latter. So go over and listen to that one. But I will be back this time next week to talk about Redemption. So with that, I bid you adieu. Ta-ra, duckies. Ta-ra.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.